Hormones, fat loss. Give me a hello. If you're on replay, drop a replay in the comments. Going to be talking about fat loss, hormones, and how to get more energy today. So, hormones and fat loss comes up a lot. Morning, Seffi. Hormones and fat loss comes up a lot. Like, do hormones impact fat loss? And it's there's no real yes or no, because it depends what the context we're talking about. There's many hormones in the body, and it's going to be different complex processes that occur to decide what impacts what. But normally, when I get asked this question, it's more around menopause, often, menstrual cycle. And in this case, yes, the research is very clear that it does, but indirectly. So not directly, indirectly. So it doesn't necessarily make you store more body fat. But what it does do is make people maybe have sleep issues. So they're more tired. And when you're more tired, you perceive foods as more rewarding than they actually are. Right? So if you perceive foods as more rewarding than they actually are, you tend to eat more. But the problem is, because you're just perceiving them as more rewarding than they are, they're not actually giving you the satisfaction. Ever had that before? If you have, drop a me in the comments and say, yes, I get that a lot. So then we almost want more, right? Morning, Karen. Morning, Pauline. How are we doing? Then we almost want more, right? Which is then frustrating. And then we that vicious cycle, the blood sugar levels are up and down. And there's lots of research on this, which is quite clear in terms of how this indirectly impacts fat loss. So 100% hormones have a role here. But the exciting thing about this is that it's generally indirect. So there are things that we can do to help with this, because obviously, that's why there's been a lot of coverage of, say, like HRT and stuff like that, but I'm not going to go into that, as it's not my area to go into that. Morning, Sarah. But more around, okay, what can we actually control about this? And I'm bringing this up because, like, take last night, for example. England, awesome win. But for me, that's a late night now, which is crazy. That's a late night for me. And I spoke about this yesterday. Where do I start? With the things that you already do. Because just going to bed an hour later than I normally would impacts. Like, I could get as complex as I want in this short video that I'm going to do now. But just going to bed an hour later than I normally would impacts my energy levels in the morning, impacts my hunger levels, just that in itself. And I have a choice, of course. Like, I'm not going to miss that game last night. There's history being made, awesome atmosphere, awesome occasion, lifts the country, really amazing I'm not going to miss that anyway. And my point here is that sometimes we want to make it more complicated than it needs to be. And it is complicated, let's face it. But we can make many steps towards that. Like, we sometimes looking for, one of the most searched terms is foods to increase this hormone or that hormone. And the reality is, it generally comes back to eating a whole foods, balanced diet, good levels of protein, the things that you already know you need to do. So the issue then becomes, okay, why am I not doing them? Then the issue comes back round to energy levels. Then we've got two options. We can control how we protect our energy. That's time for us. That's me time. And I know what you're thinking. It's hard to get me time, and I understand that. How do I create energy? Because I have a strategy to feel rubbish, whether I know it or not. And most of us will. I can wake up and say, or in the afternoon today, why am I so tired today? Rather than complain about that, I can actually consider, well, it's because I went to bed later than normal. It's because I didn't have my usual breakfast, or whatever it is. My blood sugar levels are now up and down. And if you look at how you're feeling, your energy levels, your sleep, and your breakfast, let's take that as something you can action today. So I want to make these actionable because they're very short. I can't go into like masses of detail because otherwise it becomes very prescriptive, and without speaking to an individual, it's hard to become very prescriptive with this. So let's take, if you go to bed at the same time every night, get up at the same time in the morning, have a breakfast, which is protein rich, like an omelette, yogurt, generally, you'll probably find your energy levels will improve in the next week. If you did that for a week, you'll find your energy levels will improve. And a lot of people don't do that, or don't even consider that as something that might work. And I'm not saying it will work. I'm saying it's something that a lot of people aren't doing, especially at breakfast. And we find, it is perhaps more difficult to get some protein in at breakfast. Maybe a protein shake can help as well, if you're not really up to having much in the morning. But just to help control the blood sugar levels, stop that spike, stop that mid-morning hunger. Then the blood sugar levels are all over the place. And that can actually impact people's anxiety and all sorts. And that can go into the comfort eating cycle. Hey, Christine. So there's lots of variables here. Can you see my point here in terms of, when you hear something, just eat, I don't know, organic wild salmon and seaweed at 11 a.m. But really prescriptive stuff, it's fine. That's a fine thing to do. But you just got to consider all the other avenues that we could possibly control here. Now, I'm going to bring one thing up here. If you can't go to bed and get up at the same time each day, that's fine. And that happens a lot. We work with lots of people who have shift work and things like that. Then you've just got to move on, because your brain will go, I can't do that. If you're thinking that, let me know. So then we've got to control, okay, we can still control the meal times. And with shift work, I know this is on a tangent, this deserves a whole section in itself. You've got to keep things as stable as possible with that. Now, I'm going to be the bearer of bad news and say that shift work in general, like night shift work, has been shown by the research to have a negative impact. It goes against our natural circadian rhythm, which can impact our blood sugar levels. They find that foods seem to spike blood sugar levels more so when people work nights and things like that. But what they do find is, things like keeping those meal times the same, because we tend to snack in the evening rather than have proper meals. Have proper meals, go to bed and treat it like bedtime, blackout curtains, blackout blinds, eye mask, really relax down. Morning, Deborah. All these things to help with that. So I've gone off on a massive tangent. I'll make a note to write a blog on that as well, and hope that helps. So any questions, let me know. If you're going to try that, like bed same time, up same time, I definitely notice it as well, to be perfectly honest. Keeping that rhythm. Your body loves homeostasis. Your body loves routine. The more routine you keep, the less decisions you have to make, the less willpower you have to use. That's the key with everything. When they look at studies in people who have lost 10 kilos or more, they do nothing special and kept it off for more than a year, that is. So that's why they get put in this group. They do nothing really special. They ask them questions like, what do you have for breakfast? And they just go, eggs, scrambled egg on toast, scrambled egg on toast, scrambled egg on toast. What about Wednesday? Scrambled egg on toast. I'm not saying you have to be boring. You could have a few different options, of course. But the key thing is they keep their decisions to a minimal. And again, then you can come back to, I'm going to build an obstacle on top of an obstacle here. I don't have time to plan my meals. That's what I touched on yesterday. Then you've got to plan your fridge. Make healthy foods, make nutritious whole foods convenient and easy, because convenient and easy gets done, just like your exercise. Make it convenient and easy. Do you have an option to do it at home like we do? I've just done a workout now this morning. Plus we had Marlborough devices in person as well. Make it easy, convenient. You can do it from anywhere, anytime. Is it 10 minutes, 15, 20, half an hour? It doesn't matter. Something is always better than nothing. And if there's only so long, you can keep saying, yeah, but 1 minute will do nothing, until you go, wow, 1 minute would be something. Because all of a sudden, that's going to seem like the thing that you said is pointless will seem like a mountain if you keep saying that. Anyway, that's tangent number 3, I think it is. So I better stop there. Anyway, I've walked all the way past, I've left a bag all the way over there, so I better go back. Anyway, I will see you later. Any questions, as always, just let me know and I'll leave you with this. Just take a deep breath in. Look at that. Speak soon.